Today for Devotions with Daniella, we are reading Uncultured, the first book of Daniella, which is about growing up in the Children of God religious cult, going into the cult of the U.S. Army. We are now in the chapter Take One for the Team, where they are crashing and burning my, up until then, fairly glorious career. There's a young woman, 19 years old, who works for me, who was being sexually harassed by one of the pilots, and she has also decided to come for me, who had been, up until that point, trying to help. But late one Sunday night in April, 5 months into the deployment, and 3 weeks after Private Parker filed her complaint, I was ordered into a meeting with the case's investigator, who proceeded to read me my rights. He then leveled a charge of creating and fostering an environment of sexual assault, harassment, and retaliation in the unit. He explained that Private First Class Parker had requested a transfer, reporting that Captain Mestinek was making her life a living hell because she had filed a harassment complaint against her boyfriend's best friend. If I hadn't been so terrified, I would have laughed out loud. That explained why I'd been unable to shake the anxious feeling that something was happening just outside my vision, that I was being set up to take a fall. I refused to speak without a lawyer, and the investigator, a lieutenant colonel with all kinds of rank and authority to pressure me, informed me that it was late on a Sunday, too late to contact one, as though he hadn't set the timing of this interrogation in the first place. I got the impression he was angered that I dared make the request. He tried to bully me into making a confession, pulling out all the techniques of rank and surprise. But I wasn't going to play that game. I told him I would speak to an attorney and we would respond. But that didn't happen. I was released back to my room, and then everything snowballed. Our command sergeant major, the highest enlisted man in the unit, was suspended and banned from the unit area, and the rumor was that it was because he had asked whether there was anyone looking out for the rights of the accused, also a soldier of his, both accused and accuser under his care. Tom was removed from his senior position and transferred to another base with less than 60 minutes' notice. They told us he needed to be kept out of the investigation for his own protection, that he wasn't being fired. But he was being fired. Republican dog didn't like that one. I knew the distance would be the only way to save both his career and the promotion he'd been expecting, even if his relationship with his friend was over. Maybe, if I was lucky, our leaders wouldn't see a ticking time bomb of trouble every time they looked at us together, at least in regard to General Order 1. And that made me wonder, as the investigation centered squarely against me, after they charged Mr. Albright and sent him home, kicked him out of the Army, what had caused it to become such a witch hunt? Just that year, the Army had started to increase pressure and focus on eradicating sexual harassment and assault among the troops, and I appreciated the intensity, though it was hard when it had become so misdirected, against the sergeant major, against me. As such a public advocate for women, I was shocked that anyone, let alone with the backing of a full-fledged investigation, could believe I'd meant to cause harm. The headquarters commander leaned back in his chair one afternoon and explained it to me. Daniella, you have to understand what is at stake here, he said. Congress is overseeing these kinds of investigations. If they ask, we have to be able to give them something, to show them we did right by the victims. We stand by you as a leader, and I wouldn't ask you to do anything differently. But sometimes, you just gotta take one for the team. Later that night, as I looked up at my Disney blanket, my tears blurring out the princesses so I couldn't discern Cinderella from Rapunzel, I wondered who was really in control of all of this. It was clear that someone higher up had an agenda, and if we were all just the puppets, who was pulling the strings? My tears continued to fall as I realized how naive I'd been, thinking that the label of bitch would protect me. You can get signed copies of Uncultured attached here or listen to me read it to you anywhere you get your audiobooks.